Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Coffee with Jim and James. James, my brother, I'm telling you right now, when you mention freestyle, and then I hop on this Zoom call and I see you with a snazzy shirt, your hat,
Oh,
it
not
brings.
that kind of freestyle or
Well, that's
what?
what I was thinking. You heard of me in the 1981 Chicago freestyle event, right?
Oh, wow.
Are we talking dance moves or?
Oh, I was thinking like gangster rap freestyles. No, Jimmy, we've done these before.
We,
Just one actually. We got our feet wet, I think, a couple of months ago. I don't even think we did one last month. It's not something that we're holding our feet to the fire at all on. But when it makes sense, it's a great way to kind of pick up the loose ends and, you know, cover a lot of ground in an episode. So I think that's the plan today. Yeah. I
yeah,
even got a cheat sheet note sheet over here. So when I look over here, don't judge me.
yep. And for all of our viewers, again, just to connect the dots, we wanted to get on and talk about the industry right now, talk about what's going on now, as well as going forward for the short-term future, the next, 2, 3, 4 months, give everybody some updates. Let's continue to connect the dots and talk about some great things that are going on.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And you mentioned the shirt. You're dead on. Anytime we do these kind of looser ones, I feel obligated to like just hang out, you know, wear my comfy clothes. I used to wear hoodies, but it's 157 degrees here in Texas today. So hoodies are out this season. But yeah, so man, we're laid back. If I cruise back in my chair a little bit, you know
so
what's up.
I have my casual white shirt on today. I only
Always.
have 17 different white shirts, and this is my casual one. If you
Is that your favorite one though?
it's it's good. So let's get started. Let's bring
Let's
people up.
do it. Yeah, Jimmy, I want you to start. There's actually a really exciting project that you've been
Yeah,
working on. We kind of hinted on it the last time on our freestyle,
we did.
and maybe even a couple of times in between. But Jimmy, you have been working on a project. I mean, honestly, at this point, probably 2.5 years.
Yep.
Actually putting, pen to paper, whatever you want to call it, for those times. But probably in your head even before that, and that's a long time for a project.
Yeah.
But I hear that we're really, really close, if not there, to letting the cat out of the bag. So, Jimmy, I'm just going to let you run with it because it's your baby.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's been a quite a journey. And just to bring everybody up to speed, real briefly, everybody knows that we do a lot in the OQ operator qualification world, right?
Yep, you
And
bet.
that world has been in place for about 2 decades now. And through just my industry knowledge and being married to a 23-year veteran of the pipeline industry subject matter expert world,
Who, who's that?
that would happen to be Tammy Bomia from Clock Spring NRI.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Hey,
Woo.
Tammy. Yep.
She's gonna hit me
She
when she
loves it.
this.
You said whoop, whoop. Like, I mean, it's a
Back to
freestyle
the
too. So
freestyle.
that's fine. That's probably
Oh,
fine.
so much trouble. But just being in the same environment and hearing some of the things that they go through on their side in the certification world. And,
Right.
and it kept, my mind kept going. I'm like, certification, qualification. And I kept learning more and more that in the pipeline, utility, municipality, oil and gas world, there's certifications. And those run, I would say, almost synergetic or parallel to qualifications where people are doing projects on pipelines or on grids or whatever the case is, and they are certified by the manufacturer. So a manufacturer has
Right.
a process, and if these people want to apply everything from a composite wrap to maybe it's a fusion machine or whatever, those people that are going to use that product and or that process need to become certified.
Right.
My world like expanded. I'm like, this is a big deal. This is as big a deal, if not bigger, than qualifications. Because one thing, James, that as you know, that I've been harping or not harping on is the right word, but really touting is that qualifications are in the United States, right? We talk about
Yeah.
regulations,
Right.
and certifications also are now being looked at by regulators as saying, wait a minute, not just saying that you're certified, but prove to me that you're certified. One, and when you think about it, certifications, they don't know borders. So all of a sudden,
Wow.
somebody that is doing a process and they need to be certified. I know just recently Clock Spring NRI they have people in England. One of their people was down in Gabon, Africa, doing
Yeah.
certifications, got
I
ran.
saw the pictures. I saw some of the pictures. I cannot share them. They may or may not exist, but I did see pictures.
We won't confirm or deny. But anyways, it immediately took, it really helps people like Clock Spring NRI to certify people throughout the world using the EWN platform so they can do things mobily and so they can track it easily. The days of Excel spreadsheets for Clock Spring NRI are tossed out the window. And it really will help them and will help us. I mean, all of a sudden we have a global footprint. We're dealing with Malaysia, Indonesia, Western Europe, Africa, the Americas. And so it's an exciting process, James. And I'm glad that it's, the fruits of the labor are coming to out to the world right now. So it's a great time today to talk about that. So if anybody is interested, you know how to get a hold of me. I would say right now I'd be the point person for this. And
no doubt.
if you don't reach out to me, there's a good chance I'm going to be reaching out to you.
Hey, now, yeah, Jimmy, I've been close in proximity to this project, so I've seen it a lot.
Yep.
And for those that are more affected by OQ, our U.S. counterparts and clients and prospects, with a push towards really company-specific training. Right. Yep. You hear custom sounds expensive, but company specific. Right. So it's one thing to get qualified on a task for corrosion, of steel pipe or something. Right. But it's a whole nother to be certified by the manufacturer and qualified. Right. I mean, it's bringing that bar up. We talked about raising the bar for a long time. This is another effort to do just that. And, whether Jimmy, you can answer this, but whether you're a manufacturer or an operator or a contractor, there's huge benefits for this. Am I wrong?
No,
it doesn't matter where you sit. We're all going to benefit from it.
We're all going to benefit. We're all going to be safer because when you think about it, an operator can go into the EWN system and check a contractor's or their own people's qualifications, and in the same breath, check their certifications and make sure that everything is up to par. And again, when you look at the core of everything that we do in the industry being, let's make the world a better and safer place to work and to be and to live, this is absolutely at the cornerstone. So I am, as you know, I've been a champion behind it for quite some time. And I am, to say that I'm excited about it and how it's going to positively affect our industry, I am very excited. So yeah.
That's great. Cool, man. Well, congrats, number one, for getting it to here. I know what it takes behind the scenes and the long nights and early mornings to make it happen. And I've seen it personally, and I know we're still in that process. Not like we're done or live, but we're very, very close to taking a breath. Right, that's awesome. Cool.
Absolutely.
Well, Jimmy, another exciting thing this week is all right. So full disclosure, we're recording this on July 7th.
Yep.
So this week we had a big group travel out to Minga. We've got great friends over at Minga.
Yep. Mississippi Natural Gas Association.
Yeah.
Led by Sherelle, who's been at the helm for many years. They're there. They're having fun. Orange Beach,
man. Tough life. We've got 4 or 5 people out there. Greg, Brianna, Corey, Heather. We've got several out there participating. Super excited to get back out. I think this is Greg's actually second show. I thought he went to Minga earlier in the year. He went to Mississippi. I'll just say that. I believe it was Minga. But for a lot of people, Jimmy, this is one thing that I was thinking about this morning when I was looking at the event calendar was I bet for a lot of people, this might be the first time they've traveled out since 2019 because the pandemic halted it so early in 2020 that, our season really runs from about end of February, early March to,
October.
Right. November. And so a lot of people never came out to play in 2019. They didn't have that option. We'd already shut down by then. And so think about that, and we're not even in that bucket yet. I haven't traveled out to a conference yet. I don't know about you, but
My first one, Alabama, 2 weeks.
yeah, that's right. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm still a little ways out from being out there, but wow, isn't that wild to think about that as an industry to be, shut down and trying to figure it all out. So what an exciting
It,
event for some people.
it's great to see it coming back. I tell you, for me, you know how much I travel or have traveled, and I felt like a newbie. Like, how do I get on a plane? Where do I, what? How does the hotel key work? All those. I mean, I'm being facetious.
Yeah, right.
It's
But
like,
it is funny traveling again. We've joked about that, is how bad we've got it traveling, especially when you think back at, let's say, when you were in your prime of 2019, right?
right.
Like you were in September September of 2019. You didn't even think about traveling, you know.
No,
You
it's
just booked rental cars. One morning you'd wake up, book all your travel, and just you knew how to pack, you knew how to function in the airport, and you
yeah,
know.
here. I mean, it was.
Now it takes me 30 minutes to go to town, and I say go to town because I live out in the country.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and it was. I'll tell you just real quick. Just the first day seeing people was like, do we shake hands? Do we hug?
Yeah.
Do we not hug? Do we,
What are we doing here? Right.
And then things got better, and people are still very cautious, and they're taking precautions and the whole bit.
Good.
But by the end of the conference, people wish the conference wasn't ending, because at that
Yeah.
point, everybody was like, okay, we're all back together. We've talked to everybody on phone, Zoom calls and such. But I tell you, I'm excited for the fall. We got some big things.
Holy cow. Do we have some
Big
big
thing.
stuff?
I mean, um,
Every 2 years, a little show pops up.
what's that one called? What is it? The one every 2 years that has exhibit hall to it? AGA
American.
Gas
Yeah,
Association.
sure. So for those that don't know, the biennial trade show or exhibit is this year for AGA, which feels well timed as the coming out party for the
Yeah.
industry, I think. Not to mention it's in Kissimmee, Orlando. So it's going to be a big deal. It's a big deal every 2 years anyway, but this year especially. Been working with them and trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do. We're working through our plan for AGA, but I know one thing for sure.
Let it
And
out.
Jimmy, we've joked about AGA having kind of a meta schedule for us, a schedule within a schedule. So for Coffee with Jim and James, EWN has a booth, Energy Woman has a booth, 400 square foot booth. So we got a good footprint. But on the back side of that, or on one side of the booth, we're actually going to set up Coffee with Jim and James.
Yes.
Probably the main day. There's really just one big day at AGA comparative. And so our plan is to have live Coffee with Jim and James going at least in the morning slot, maybe through lunch. We're gonna have coffee at the booth and bring folks on live, and we're excited about that. And then what else, Jimmy? We've already heard other people pulling us in as well. That hence the schedule within the schedule.
Well, yes, our good friends at Connections for Life, the Upsco boys, as we like to call them, the Three Stooges, Joe, Chad, Ted, they're going to be doing something similar at their booth.
Mm-hmm.
And, we just had a series of meetings with them. And then I every time we get together with the guys, they're like, us and them, they're like, how much more can we do? What can we do together?
Right.
What can we do? So we're going to be tag teaming off the Connections for Life. They have a booth also. So maybe going back and forth between the booths. I know our friends, John Smith and all at Hydromax, are very excited. Hydromax USA are going to be there, and they want us to do something with them. So all of a sudden, it's growing and growing.
Yeah.
We might have to spread that day. Might even go a week. We might be tearing down AGA, and we might still be
you bet. Going live, right? Doing a freestyle from there. Yeah, it's interesting to think of our industry and what the big booths look like and what it was. And I'm wondering how many podcasts or recordings we'll see at people's booths this year, because there's there's quite a big buzz going around the industry, and I think it's a new wrinkle we can bring to it. And then SGA,
Yep.
Natural Gas Connect's coming up, and where is that one? Is it Charlotte?
Yeah, that's in Charlotte. Yep, downtown.
Charlotte.
Yep.
And honestly, we're thinking about doing a very similar setup there at SGA as well. We're going to work through that. We're getting down to where we're about to make all these decisions. So plan to do the same thing there, but there's actually a cooler part that SGA's asked. If you were a part of Natural Gas Connect last year, you probably saw that Jim and myself and UPSCO, Chad and Joe and Ted, all combined to really do a game show. And we did it online, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of prizes. We had a good time. We've done something similar with TGA 2 years in a row now.
Mm-hmm.
But SGA, we were going to do it virtually for this management conference that just ended. But they said, what do you think about coming out and doing it live at Natural Gas Connect? And so we'll see if that works out. I believe it is. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. If so, I think we work it into the reception or something to bring some life to that and really just have a blast doing it. We had a fun time on TGA. I know we talked about that on our last freestyle that we, we're getting close to that. It really was a ton of fun and laughs. And for an industry that, has been cooped up in a house for this long now and at home, I think it's very refreshing to just laugh with your friends and get some free stuff. And I mean, the game is totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what we're going to call it, but
totally ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, because it is, but it's a ton of fun, and man, we need it.
Yeah.
We need it. So we're teaming up with UPSCO there as well, I think.
Yes, we are.
So some big stuff. We also got APGA coming up, I think, at the end of this month. We got some folks traveling out to that. I think Greg and Scott are doing that from the brand side. Big supporters of APGA. Our friends over there, we've seen them on the show, Aaron, Stewart, and others over there. So lots of movement. It's exciting. October is going to be wild.
Well, it is going to be wild, and that's an exciting thing. And I think this is a proof of the pudding that the hybrid world is here. So besides doing some of the live things, we're still doing as much as we can in the podcast format, or even over on the LinkedIn Live, with Jim Kunkel. Connections for Life, is doing LinkedIn Live. So we're really weaving this thread through the in-person as well as the virtual world, because the feedback has been so overwhelmingly, positive, and just the thank yous that we get. I still get them all the time. Thanks for doing this. It let me escape for a half hour and catch some information. But that's exciting. Yeah.
And you and I have been kind of debating LinkedIn Live and whether it's the right space for us. And I don't know that we know that answer yet. I mean, we're applying and probably going to do it to at least try it out or use it. My thinking is it'd be really cool if we had LinkedIn Live when we do start going out in the industry again, because imagine being able to walk through the exhibit hall or share, a message or something, and being able to share that to folks that are not able to travel out, because that's the touch point I don't want to lose as we head back out. And I've said it again, and you said it too, Jimmy, but I don't want all these people that got to benefit from the professional development side and the industry learning side because we were in a virtual world. And then now we go back live, and you know what, that guy that's a level one, compliance guy at whatever fill in the blank operator isn't going to get that opportunity. And we know that. And so if we rip the virtual legs out from under this thing, I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot, right? Because man, our industry has grown so big. Remember we did the TGA event, and one of the questions we asked was, how long have you been in the industry?
Yeah, that was a good one.
So someone rolled in, I think they've been at 37 years or something. Right. It was pretty impressive.
It's under 40.
But before the game show, we had talked and said, we're going to give a prize out to the one that's been there the longest, and then the one that's been there the shortest. We had someone on that had been in the industry for 4 weeks. Now, unless you're a salesperson working for a vendor or something like that, you're not going to make it out to a show in 4 weeks. It
Right.
ain't happening. You're probably not even through onboarding. But smart companies are seeing just how much exposure that folks are getting during this time and capitalizing off of that. And man, I just hope we don't lose that. And so whether it's through the podcast, whether it's LinkedIn Live, whether it's by proxy, whatever way we can do it. And I just pray that some of the bigger associations realize how streaming some of this stuff and making a hybrid approach to these conferences has got to be our way of the future.
Yeah.
And
We can't lose them. We've gained so many, and people are like,
piss everybody off that just got to do all that all year long, and they're gonna be like, go to another industry, So we definitely don't want that to happen. But so if LinkedIn Live is something that we feel like can bring value to the industry, we'll definitely do that. We appreciate the Upskill guys and Conkle over there at Build Out, paving the way and showing us how it can be done and done successfully. But honestly, for us, we have to keep up this pace too. We have to, we've made a lot of changes to the show to keep it sustainable. And LinkedIn Live adds a layer that we're not sure yet that the investment's there. And that's just ours because me and you are the one doing this and we're really busy. Everybody that does it says it's work. And so for us, we just got to kind of weigh it out and decide if it makes sense for us. And right now, man, I'm just happy to be on talking about it and getting to hang out with my friends. And for now, I'll take that all day long.
Absolutely.
But that synergy that you talked about earlier, Jimmy, that's something that excites me and has really helped me through this pandemic is having these shows that you would think almost like competition or competitor shows. But I mean, there's no time slots, we're not prime time. People watch this crap at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. It doesn't matter, right? So we're not competing. And so when we really embrace that abundance mentality and said, how can we stand each other up? How can we, what are y'all struggling with? Here's what we're struggling with. And how can we turn these into opportunities? It's been really cool to have a group synergized around that is almost a support group,
Oh, 100%. And it's really helped because they bounce a few ideas off us and we're like, that's a great idea. And to your point, I have to stress it too. There's absolutely zero competition. We want their show and
we hang out. Like we get on Zoom calls and just talk about how to make our shows better. Right.
Yeah.
And it's a safe group because we're all trying to be better. Right. I mean, we're not just putting out something and put something out. So that's been awesome vibe with that group. And, we have an email chain that kind of just floats around. It seems like all the time. And all of us are active on LinkedIn and there's a bigger group even beyond who we're mentioning, but very thankful for them. They've been a highlight to this last 18 months, really.
100%. Absolutely 100%. And it's been a hard 18 months, James. I mean, it's been, you and I have talked a lot about this and, we talk about, talking with the guys and it helps take away the stress a little bit, but really it's decompressing because, it's been a hard 18 months and when you're working from home all the time, the blurred lines, when does work stop and personal start? So
how was your 4th of July weekend?
It was,
it's good, but you know what I mean? Like when it's blurred like that, it's like, well, I woke up Friday and worked. I was off, but
I told you I was going to email you about something and I realized it was July.
On 4th of July.
Like, nope, I'm not going to email you today. That's a bad thing. So sure. I think one thing that we should promote and tell people that they really need to look at is, if they're able, if they're willing, if they have the ways and means to go on a vacation. I know that I'm going to be at a cabin isolated in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Georgia, decompressing. And I hope no cell service there. And I hope, if I have to get water from the stream, let's boil it first. But I mean, I'm really to the point, and I think, also Tam, she works 80, 90 hours a week because there's blurred lines, and it's like, we need to get away. We need to decompress. So I think that's an important
I
thing.
hear you. Sharpen the saw, right? I mean, we
Seven habits.
had a whole episode about it. In fact, it spirited. I mean, really the series that we put out, but sharpen the saw. If you're not doing it, especially during these times,
Oh,
tell you it weighs heavy. I'm also taking a trip. Funny enough, to Florida, um, and not to Jimmy's house. I swear.
can't wait to have you. I'm gonna put you
Be
ready.
weird if we're in the same box, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna get away. Kind of the same. We need some beach in our life. It's been
Yes.
a long time since we sat on a beach. Again, hopefully everybody has a chance or they're able can do it safely, both mentally and physically. But very vital, man. You got to remember why you do this stuff. And I think
Yeah.
over the pandemic, I hope people realize a little bit more why we do this stuff that we do.
Yeah.
Um, and I think we've had a clear picture of the business side of why we do things over the last 18 months. But it maybe is, unearth some things, personally that some of us need to work through. So I think we've done a decent job. We can do better, and I hope we will. This past 18 months of helping people, get the message out about mental health, really, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what we're talking about when we say sharpen the saw at the base of it. It's for your mental health. And then as we, think about the pandemic and, for some people, maybe the first time that if you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
some of the first time some people have maybe ever dealt with that, generations that didn't go to war or didn't have, those events where you scared the life out of you, right? That for the first time they're experiencing that. And that's a tough thing to process and work through. And when you have little ones and spouses and parents and grandparents and all the things that you have to factor into that, it stacks heavy, right?
Neighbors, friends, industry.
Industry, right? I mean,
Go down the list, you know?
which Jimmy kind of leads to really the capstone, I guess, to this freestyle episode. And
Yep.
we when would we have started Seven Habits?
Oh.
Probably a year ago. Well, no, it probably was less than that. 8 months ago, 10 months ago, we actually did an episode on Sharpen the Saw.
Yep.
And it came honestly at the time because I was struggling at that point mentally and really kind of brought it up to you and you were like, man, people need to hear this message.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of went for it and threw that out there. And then we got so much great feedback on the 7 habits that we decided to turn it.
I mean,
Yeah, the best. That was,
yeah.
I don't even know why we make other shows. We should just read books, I guess. But so much awesome feedback from that we decided, let's make it a little series within. And so we did all the 7 habits. And I think a couple of weeks ago, we recorded the final episode of that, which should be airing soon. I don't think I've missed it yet. Sorry if I did. I don't watch my own stuff anymore. No,
I don't think.
So once that's wrapped, we really were trying to think, what's our next like mini series within the episodes, and we talked a lot about different books and things we could bring to people's attention, and we plan to continue to do that. I mean, I think book studies are awesome, but I think we'll probably do an episode on a book, and then an episode on another book. Yeah. 7 habits is just a different animal where you have the opportunity to do 7 episodes. Why not, right? So those will probably happen, but behind it all, we think a mental health series is probably the best answer right now.
Now I agree with you. Now, a lot of people are probably saying, whoa, mental health series. This sounds deep, Yeah. But it can be deep, but it can also be very enlightening and very, bringing awareness to people. Because I think what I'm learning by talking to you and talking to friends in the industry and family and all that people don't really realize. It's easy. Like when you ever go to those classes and they say, okay, when you're under stress, count to 10 and breathe in and out. And you're like in this class and environment where you're not stressed and you got it. But then when you're actually under stress, do you remember that? And I think right now, a lot of people are going through a lot of just just mental, I'll call it anguish. Is that a good word? Or a
Yeah,
mental
I think that's fair.
turbulence, you know?
Yeah, some of us, right? Yeah, and there's not a blanket, that we can throw over it. And I think that's why it dictates it being a series, is because there's
Yeah.
facets to it, right? Like if you deal with anxiety, it's totally different than depression, but they can be commingled, and they can be a byproduct of each other. And so, or, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
ADD or whatever it might be, just sharpening the saw, right? As simple as that is.
Yeah.
Not saying we're going to have the repeat episode, but why? Why is it so important? And man, what better group to bring it to? Sometimes people, there's a stigma. There has been. I think it's lifting more and more, but there's been a stigma for a long time. With talking to a shrink or a psychologist or whatever and we're trying to break a little bit of that. And part of it comes, I'll be really honest, in October of last year, assumed assumed the role over HR as well, for those that don't know. And so for me, this is really a kind of a personal battle that I want to bring to our industry. I mean, I want to tackle it. I want to go after it because I think, that might be part of the reason I'm here. And so I want to be sure that we're supporting people. And then we're also like just making a safe place. I don't care if people are messaging me.
I,
Like I don't care one bit. I just want that to be an option. I want
yeah.
to be able to provide people with resources that maybe they don't know is available.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's the obvious thing you overlook, right? And there's
Yeah.
ways that we can bring this information out. And Jimmy, you and I bringing it, I think it's a little bit different than when you feel like an HR person's telling you, or a medical professional. And listen, we're not giving medical advice during
Yeah.
this series at all. It's
Personal
more of absolutely how we work through it, what's worked for us, and the stories that kind of get us there. So, I personally, man, I'm telling you, I've wanted to do this, and now we have a platform, and why not?
And I'm
Why not now, right? I think it's perfect timing, perfect storm for this discussion. And based on kind of the samples that we've thrown out and to see the bait that we've chummed the waters with a little bit, it seems like there's some legs with it. And that tells me, again, our mission, Jimmy, if we can, really touch one of those folks that are listening every episode, especially on this topic, whether we're saving a mental breakdown or saving a life or whatever it might be, that's when that one makes all the difference.
And my story, and most of the people in the industry know it because I've gotten over the shame probably 9 years and 6 months ago, but I celebrated my 10-year sobriety this year, July 10th. And as everybody knows in the industry knows me, I just talk about it. I'm,
Sure.
I'm not one to be like,
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm sober.
Fake drinking. Yeah.
And the amount of people that have known me over the last years and have reached out to me, even just quietly, just saying, hey, I've been struggling with it during this time, and do you have any advice? And I'm not a doctor, I'm not that, I'm just a friend, I'm just a person that's gone through it. And I think that's a subject too that I'm very excited.
Jimmy, what are the stats on substance abuse, for
Well,
instance?
that's interesting because I actually volunteer at a recovery church, and we're very interested in them. But the old stats pre-COVID were 1 out of 11, 1 out of 10 Americans struggle with some sort of substance concern.
Right.
And when I say concern, that could be like somebody says, I had 3 glasses of wine last night. I really didn't want to do that. I only wanted one, all the way to somebody that could be a full blown addict of some sort. And so there's concerns. And that was pre-COVID. We're thinking now those numbers just at a grassroots level, we just know more people that are, that had it in balance before, and now the balance is out of whack. So think about that though. Let's just go one.
Yeah, you pick the one out of the 12 people that are in close proximity to you.
Yeah,
do it.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean? Like I'm saying, which one do you want to wish that on? And I think all of us would go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I never would have thought that low. Because now we're probably under 1 in 10. It's
I would
probably
say,
more like 1 in 8, 1 in 9. And if you are a smaller company that's got 20 or 30 employees, that's a big difference, right? I mean,
you're looking at 2 to 3 people. And a lot of times, like you hide it because you're ashamed of it. And so you just muddle through the day and you
sure.
don't know that person is struggling.
Right,
And,
right.
next time you're at a meeting, and there's 20 people there, you could say, I bet you there's 2 people here that are struggling with
At
something.
least, and that's in the best case scenario, right? I mean,
Right.
that's if the culture's good. It's a low stress job. You've got good hires. So imagine you have one bad hire in there,
Yeah.
or you have a string of bad hires in there, or you have a bad manager
Yeah.
bringing in bad people and managing people bad. You may have a whole department that's affected majorly by it. And Jimmy, to go back to the bigger stats, and again, these are pre-COVID. I think it's like 18.9. So I'll just round it up because I'm a marketer.
Okay.
20% of folks are dealing with mental health issues at the moment.
Wow.
And something like 39 to, and I'll say again, 40% go untreated.
Suffer in
So,
silence.
so that means 10, and probably now 10 to 15% of people in the workplace are struggling with mental health and are
Yeah.
not getting help, whether it be from a stigma that is pre-existing, or just being scared, or not knowing how,
Sure.
or not even knowing they have a problem.
Yep.
And if we can bring that to light and do it in a way that people feel safe as we do it, to reach out to others and so forth, I think that's an obligation I'm perfectly uh,
Right.
happy to provide to folks.
Right. Well, and I agree. And I think you hit it, self-awareness, understanding yourself. And then two, that there isn't shame in it. I
Yeah,
would say the only shame is, keeping it inside and not letting people help
yeah,
you, want the
yeah.
help.
And Jim, you said something about, which is essentially masking, right? And
Yeah.
whether it's substance abuse or anxiety or depression, or
Right.
whatever, that's something that our minds naturally do, right? You don't want to show weakness to people. So in
Right.
your mind, if anxiety or depression is or stress is a weakness, then you mask that. And
Agreed.
so what everyone sees every day is totally different. But then when you get home and you collapse,
Yeah.
that's when I just pray that episode hits the right hands, and or they see a LinkedIn post, or an email from us, and can act on it. So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
probably a big ask for our industry. When people probably watching, they're going, "Wow, interesting how this will go."
Yeah.
But again, I'm willing to take that chance.
I'm willing to take it too, because as we say at the Recovery Church, and we meet every Tuesday night, as you know, if we can help one person, just
Yeah.
one person, then we've all done our jobs. And
And,
that's what we really want to do, man. Just help
yeah.
people, all.
Yeah, we want to help stand this industry back up. We believe a lot of awesome work has been done, and like we said before, all the professional development that this past 18 months has given us,
Yeah.
that's not going away. That's already deposited, right? So our goal is to, okay, now this transition back is going to be tough. We know people are challenged right now with mental health, and so bringing them along so that our industry, man, in 2 years can flex and use all that power that we stored up.
And
So
how are we going to do it? We're going to do it as an industry united.
absolutely.
We cross those lines, meaning one company versus another company. No, let's break those
Nah,
down. Let's
yeah,
let's build those
there's
bridges.
people. Yeah,
Yeah. There's way too many good that is in our industry that we can help share that. James,
yeah. So Jimmy, that's the series, man. We're hoping to bring that.
what name of it going to be? Do we have a name
I
yet?
don't know. We're struggling through that a little bit, doing a little work on that. Not struggling, but we
We're
haven't
looking
we
for the
haven't
right
sat
word,
down a real. Yeah,
but they would
but
include health, hope, mental hope, you
yeah,
know, all those good things, right?
absolutely. I'm ready to get started. I think we could probably see it within the next month. Roll
Yeah,
out the first one,
without a
and
doubt. Yep.
we'll see how that goes, and lay out the future episodes as well.
James, I think we could keep talking for another couple hours, but we should probably bring it to a close.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't think I don't think we have enough broad bandwidth.
Oh,
You see what I did there?
call back. That's an inside joke.
Yeah.
You know, I think it would only be fitting if you did that freestyle that you prepared for us.
You mean this one?
Oh, yeah, sure. Freestyle dance.
No.
Freestyle dance us out, Jimmy.
That's out. That's out. Anyways, let me wrap this freestyle event up with a freestyle sign off. James, thank you so much for the time, brother. Every time we get together, I have to share with you. I get something out of it. It's not just us giving a
It's
message.
good for our mental health. Yeah,
It absolutely is, and I can't thank you enough for continuing to put up with me and all my
same.
wackiness. But you know, sometimes it's that wackiness that we just need to do during the day just to let the stress out or whatever. So this is a good thing. For all of our viewers, we want to thank you absolutely personally for viewing in, taking the time to, spend some time with us. We hope you got one thing out of today. And if you did, try to pass that on to somebody else, because that's the most important thing. Let's just keep that chain of goodness going, passing it on.
Multiplicity, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. So until next time on Coffee with Jim and James, on behalf of James and I, we thank you very much. You all be safe. Have a great week, and we will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Be brave.
Oh, be brave is right. That's a good motto. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.